Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspirational Wisdom. Got the D-Man here, and today I'm talking about masculinity again. Such an important topic because we need more masculinity in the United States. I was reading a thing yesterday. It was a Thanksgiving Day menu from when my father was in World War II. He was in Okinawa, Japan. I think it was in 46. He'd been in the service for a couple years. And by that time, the war was over, and I guess they were over there cleaning things up and rooting out some of the snipers. I asked my dad one time if he were afraid. He didn't talk much about the war. He was in World War II, plus he was in the Korean War. He said that they were really concerned. He was on a ship. He was in the Navy. About the kamikaze pilots, because as you all know, they would zero in on the ship and crash their plane into the ship. They would set off the shore a couple miles and shoot those big guns into the land, and that was his big concern. So there was a lot of fear there, but he never spoke much about it. My dad also was married once before, and I asked him about that. His whole discourse on it was, well, I came home from the service and she was fucking around on me and I kicked her ass out. Because at the time I was going through a divorce and I was looking for a little help and support, and those men just didn't talk much about their feelings. They just dealt with it. I mean, that's back when we had men. I mean, when they invaded the shores of Normandy, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of soldiers were killed. Men 18 years old, some of them were probably 17, had gotten into service earlier, which they were able to do back then. Those men weren't looking for a safe place or being offended by anything. I mean, today it's incredible. We have a bunch of pussies. We really do. I have 5 boys, as I've said, 20 years old and under, and they're being raised by me. Their mother is gone. Now, I think it would be great if they had a mother. It just didn't work out that way. She's been gone for 9 years and has not returned. But they don't. But I know many young men, because of course, my 5 boys, I have a daughter too, she's 13. She made the joke, I'd mentioned this before, about thanks for raising me like a guy, even though I'm a girl. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was nice that she said that. But my boys all have friends, but most of their friends are being raised by their mother in single-parent households. Now, I even have some that they don't have their father's in jail or he's dead, the mother's a drug addict. I mean, they have no masculine guidance at all. And society programs us to be feminine, that there's something wrong with being masculine, like it's brutish or macho is bad or whatever. But as I said, if it wasn't for us masculine macho men, we would not have the freedoms we have today or the ability to leave our houses unlocked during the day with the windows open. Most people have never been out of the country. But if you go out of the country in a third world country where you don't have police protection, where the police force is corrupt, there's not many, all the windows are barred, the doors are like made out of metal, you can't get into that house unless you have a torch or a tank. We don't have to have that here in the U.S., at least in most parts of the U.S. It's safe. Now, I know we have crimes, I know we have murders, but in general, you can find a lot of safe places in the United States. In third world countries such as Latin America, where I lived for 6 years, other parts of the world, South America, where I've been, you don't go out after certain times of night, and you don't go into certain neighborhoods. Now, that's similar up here in St. Louis, too. There's certain neighborhoods I wouldn't go into. But the United States is so much safer than most of the world. And who was that done by? That was done by masculine men. So let's not be discounting or discrediting masculinity, but let's give it the credit that's due. And let's not downplay men for wanting to be men. I was reading something today out of the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and I'll read it for you here. Talking about masculinity. Getting your testicles back, or for some of you maybe get your balls back. Get a set, grow a pair. That's what we say. Avoiding relationships with men and seeking the approval of women prevents nice guys from getting what they really want in love. And I know we all want what we want in love. Everyone wants a woman. Most of us do, unless you're gay. That's okay. If you want a man, go for a man. It's none of my business. I could care less. Okay? In order to reverse the effects of the nice guy syndrome, and that's what we've been taught, to be this certain guy. I don't watch TV, but what skits I've seen shows the man as being some dumbass and he can't do anything and the woman doing everything. And many of the shows show women kicking men's asses. It's like, what? I mean, that's not reality. Although there are some MMA fighters now that if I were going to fight him, I would fight him like a man. And that goes back to never hit a woman. So what is a man supposed to do if he's attacked by a woman, especially if she's a professional fighter? Stand there and let her beat the crap out of him? I think not. I mean, I don't believe on beating anyone who is weaker and not able to defend themselves. But if anyone, man, woman, or child, comes up to me and starts punching me in the face, I'll be damned if I'm going to stand there and let them do it. As a country, do we not defend ourselves? Did we not defend ourselves in World War II and the Korean War and the Vietnam War? We actually were defending other people who were being bullied, so to speak. That's a whole other subject I wanted to get on, bullying. But here we go. So in order to reverse the effects of the nice guy syndrome, nice guys have to reclaim their masculinity. To reclaim something that's been taken away or it's been lost. And it's been taken away by the society and by the feminism and by the movement of the 60s of women's lib, talking about men being mad, taking over everything, trying to control everything. Now, there may be some truth to that, I'm not sure. But if it wasn't for the men being men and having these traits that so many women and even a lot of men say are bad, we would not have the freedoms and the life we have today. Were the men who wrote the Constitution, the Constitution, were they feminine? No, they were masculine men willing to risk their lives to have freedom from British domination and control. Sometimes we don't even think about that. Who were the men that fought in the Civil War? Both sides, they were men fighting for what they believed in. Okay? The white man is the one that freed the slaves. I mean, if you go back far enough, we've all been slaves at one time or another. I come from Irish descent. My Irish descendants are slaves for the British for I don't know how many years and oppressed by them. I think they're still oppressed or have been. Anyway, the process involves believing that it is a really good thing to be a man and embracing all of their masculine traits. You were born a man, be a man. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're born a woman, be a woman. I love feminine women. There's nothing I like less than a woman who wants to be a man. You know how many women are trained to shake your hand like a man? Just give me your hand. Just give me your hand as a woman. It's like I grab their hand to shake it and it's almost like they try to get the grip on me. It's like, what is this? You're not a man. Just give me your hand. You're a woman. You're a beautiful woman. Let me take your hand. Let me say hello to you, and then we can go on with our business. But this is what they're taught. Shake like a man so you get the equal respect. To me, it's ludicrous. But hey, I come from a different time. But what we did worked back then. We didn't have near the divorce. We didn't have near the problems we're having now. We didn't have all this identity confusion or gender confusion or whatever you want to call it. I better not even go there. So, reclaiming one's masculine traits involves connecting with other men. There's another thing we don't have. When I was 15 years old, I was working. I quit school. After work, 10 or 15 of us would stand around the back of a truck and bullshit, as we called it. Shoot the breeze. Talk as men talk. We'd do it for hours. We did it almost every night. Have a few beers, stand around and drink, and associate as men. If one of the guys was like getting, they call it henpecked, or the cruder term we use was pussy whipped, or simped out, or he was a beta male, I think that's another term they use, we'd call him out on it because he was our friend. We loved him. Okay, reclaiming one's masculine traits involves connecting with other men, as I said, getting strong, go to the gym, lift weights, get out of the house, get off the computer. Go out there and play football. Get involved in some contact sports. It's amazing how good you'll feel. I mean, some of you may think it's crazy, but I was an amateur and professional boxer. Sometimes I get in the ring, and even though the guy got the best of me after 3 or 4 rounds of us beating the crap out of each other, felt like $1 million. I never had to fight out in the streets, never had anything to prove, because I knew I could take care of myself. It actually kept me out of trouble for many years. Okay, another one is finding healthy role models. Difficult task, but hey, we have YouTube today, so you can get on YouTube. That's what I do. I listen to men on YouTube. I find people who are talking and being like the men I want to be. I have a mentor. I have many people on YouTube I listen to, and I admire and respect, and I pick up these traits from them. So if you can't find anybody in person, you can always get on YouTube and follow some of these men who are teaching masculine traits. It's a great thing, really. Reclaiming one's relationship with one's father. Re-examining one's relationship with one's father. Now, for a long time, I thought my dad was okay, and he was okay. My dad was a rough man. He used to whip the crap out of me. Now, I've got a book I'm writing. I think I put in there that I was abused. Yeah, by today's standards, I was abused. But let me tell you, back when I was a kid, everybody got whippings like that. I had black and blue marks on my legs. But guess what? All the neighbor kids had the same thing. When my dad told me to be in by 10 o'clock, if I wasn't in by 10, I got a whooping. Guess what? The next night, I was in by 10. Did my dad have to whip me all the time? No, just knowing that he could. There's nothing like physical pain or the fear of physical pain that will motivate a kid. I don't believe in beating kids, and I don't believe in abusing kids, but I believe in corporal punishment. It just works. I mean, now we got kids. I even have one kid of my own, 15 years old. He doesn't do this at home, but he's out of school. He's working. Well, he's supposed to be working for me. But anyway, he will get up in class and cuss the teachers out and walk out. And you know why he does that? Because he knows they can't touch him. When I was a kid, if we did that, they would take us up to the principal's office, and they had a paddle that was like, it was a big one, and they would two-hand that dude and whip your ass. He knows they can't do anything to him. He doesn't do that at home because he can't get away with it, but he can get away with it at school because they won't touch him. It's amazing. So we have undisciplined children growing up. He gets disciplined here at home. Does he get beat? No. Has he got a whooping? Not for a long time. I have a paddle here and I use. The police picked him up one night because he was supposed to be staying all night with at someone's house, and they didn't. He was out past curfew, so the cops called me. I had to go get him. They told me to take him home and whip his ass. I paddled him, okay? Didn't leave a mark on him because the law here in this state is you can paddle him, but you can't leave a mark on him. When I was a kid, we all had marks on our legs. So it's almost like the state takes away our rights to be a father. And like I said, I don't believe in abusing or beating kids, but I'm telling you what, sometimes they need a paddling. And I will stop with that, and I want to thank you for joining me. Hit the like and subscribe button and share with a friend if you think it can be of help to them. And I will talk to you next time, and have a great day. Be a man.